The best event is back. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I have 3 decks for you for the theme Chronicle, which is, in my opinion, the best recurring event that it is in Master Duel. I thoroughly enjoy the metagame and the format because, for the most part, it is a much lower power format and it just provides much more interesting gameplay. So I really enjoy it. That being said, NR format was... or NR event was by far the best, and it's not even close. But this is a close second. This is a second. Anyway, I have 3 decks to show you, all 3 very different, all 3 very fun. So we're going to start off here with Ashened, which is the newest of these decks, and it is extremely fun. First of all, it's not very good. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Even in a format like this, it's not very good. However, one thing it does do is, if you don't know what Vados does, Vados, during the main phase, pops a field spell to special summon it to your opponent's side of the field, and then adds adds to the hand or sets an Ashened continuous trap from the deck if you destroyed it. What this is notable for is that it can pop either field, and it's a quick effect, meaning you can do it on your opponent's turn. Now, why is this important? In the current metagame, the 2 top decks are Orchist and the other one, Sun Avalon, or Plant Link, right? So both of those rely on a field spell in order to pretty much not do their combo, but like at the very least have some sort of interaction and really put out their best form of interaction. So with that in mind, Vados just kind of nullifies that, kind of by accident. So he's very funny in that regard, which makes him very, very fun to play. On top of that, if he's sent from the opponent's field to the grave, you can destroy all monsters on the field, which is also very funny. So if you give it to the opponent and then they link it away, you can just be like, oops, bye-bye field. So that's something. That's pretty much it. As for the rest of the deck, it's pretty simple. It's basically just getting out your own field spell, which when popped with Vados, searches, or special summons a guy. Priestess is able to search out cards. This is able to add the Vados to your hand by sending it to the graveyard and then adding it to the hand. It does lock you into the Pyro type. Awakening of Vados is very, very useful. However, it's not searchable for some reason, but it puts the field spell on the opponent's side of the field and then also searches out the Vados, which is incredibly powerful and is by far the best starter, because you just be like, cool, here's this, here's a guy, no Fua, no Perulia, no Imperm, no nothing. Just nothing, okay? So that's pretty cool. As for the rest of the cards, they're just incidental cards, basically. Hero of Ashen can pop cards. King can special summon cards. Spearhead. All of these, like, special summon themselves as well if you have the field spell on the field. So there's that. And then we're also playing 2 apiece of the Endless, or Ashen of the Endlessness, which probably should just be 1 of, but it's kind of okay at 2. It just fusion summons, kind of similar to Super Poly, but only for Pyro fusion monsters. This guy should not be in here, but he's in here anyway because it's funny. And then we have Ashen for Eternity, which adds a guy, as well as can steal back your Vados. And that's pretty much it for the list. The rest is just non-engine. So let's hop into the replay and show you how this deck performed. Okay, this duel is kind of long, so I'm not going to go over everything that happens, but it does show you generally the power of this deck and more or less what it can do. We're going to start off here with the Bonfire to grab up the Priestess. Priestess is then going to be normal summon and promptly met with Imperm, which always happens. So, oops, it's Nibiru and a Dream, basically. This also is a monster negate by shuffling back a Orchid, or not an Orchid, a Ashened in the grave, or in the Banish, so there's that. That's pretty much it. Anyway, my opponent's going to pass the turn. This is a very long duel, so again, we're just going to try and speed through this. I just do not draw well, so I'm just kind of like hoping and praying that I draw something and I don't immediately die. My opponent is on Mech Knights. It's likely the loner deck, but alas, out comes this guy, out comes Moveman. They're going to special summon this guy. They're going to go in lane 2. They're going to go for the Morning Star. They're going to activate the effect of the Morning Star. I'm going to negate with the Rekindling because I'm like, that becomes a bit of a problem. And then I'm going to slap down the Nibiru because I don't want them to pop the Called by here. So there's that. Nothing. It's just dead draw after dead draw. Not good. Hopefully we can live one more turn. My opponent's going to go and target, go into the Girsu here. Girsu effect is going to activate. I'm going to go for the Called by on the Girsu Engrave. Of course, they have the Imperm. I kind of expected this. But, yeah, they send the World Armor and then just go to combat. They could have done more damage here with the purple Mech Knight, but they decided to surge out here with the Girsu. It wouldn't have been that much more. But we finally draw the field spell. So we can actually just activate the field spell and then get ashed on the Vados Because Vados, for some reason, everything in this deck can just be ashed. So, like, it's really bad. It's really bad against this deck. My opponent attempts to go to the battle phase. We are immediately, because everything activates in main phase in this deck. So we're immediately going to go and go for the field spell. Field spell can actually grab me Hero, which notably Hero, all it does is pop a Pyro monster. And if you destroyed Vados, you get to add or place the Ashen City into the field zone. Pretty cool. All it does is basically turn Vados into a dark hole on the opponent's turn. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to do this. We're going to dark hole the field. My opponent's going to go for the Girsu. They're going to send a card. They're then going to make a mistake and summon a token. So now I'm not dead. But then they go into Lib, which is like actually problematic for us. They're going to grab secrets here and then just go into combat and walk up to the token. We still have 2,000 life, so not dead. Alright, we also have Ashen for Eternity, which adds back a Vados or an Ashen card. Obviously, we're going to add the Vados. Problem with Vados is, once you run out of all three of them, they're just kind of gone. You don't get to use them anymore. Because if they're in Grave, you don't really have a way of getting them out of Grave. So that kind of sucks. Anyway, we're going to pop our field spell with the Vados to search out the Endlessness, which is great. And then we're going to go for the King here. I know that they have this, which is basically just an imperm at this point, because they special summon back the guy and then they negate. So I know that this is here. I can't really do anything about it, so I'm just going to allow them to negate this, because he's not really here for anything. It's more so to guarantee that this goes through. So we're going to go for the Priestess here. We're going to go grab Extinguish. Extinguish is going to send the Vados and grab the Vados. And then we are going to use it to Fusion Summon, because it's also a Fusion Summon, or a Fusion Spell. So we banish it to Fusion Summon, specifically this guy. Embers is going to add back the Field Spell, and then we're going to activate the Field Spell and just go to combat, mostly just to walk over this guy. Technically speaking, I could have done another attack, but Lib is really not good for us. So I just set, and then I steal this guy so that they can't immediately link off the Lib to go into something with this guy. I don't know what's in the extra, so yeah, it's just kind of like precautionary. I draw Bonfire, which is pretty good, but not too great. At this point, again, I'm still very close to being dead, so I'm still kind of worried here. They're going to set another card. They're going to normal summon into IP Masquerena, and at this point, I know that they can go for Avermax, which is a problem, so I'm going to immediately give them the Vados, and then go for the Ashen of Endlessness. I should have set this. I don't know why I didn't set this. I always don't, but I should have there. And then off the field spell, we go for the Hero. Out comes the Avermax. I'm like, that's a-okay. They're going to attempt to shuffle. I'm going to steal. And then I'm also going to pop this guy. This may seem weird, but this way I don't take any damage. So, yeah, I just pop my own attack position fusion monster and allow them to shuffle away the card. They actually shuffle away probably the correct target, which is Ashen for Eternity. Except I'm lying to you. It's absolutely not, because me being able to activate it again is way better. So there's that. I don't really have a great way to deal with the Avermax Crusadia, except for the field spell, which has a weird stipulation on it. So we're going to go for the Bonfire. We're going to grab Priestess. We're going to normal summon the Priestess, activate the effect of the Priestess, grabbing up the Extinguish, and then go for the Extinguish, sending to the graveyard the third Vados, adding to the field the Vados. Here we can then go for the Fusion Summon here, and then we are going to Fusion Summon into the Embers, putting it in defense position, adding the Embers to the field, adding the Ashen City to our hand, and then we can use our Fusion Spell, or Fusion Trap, to Fusion Summon using both fields, which is pretty nice. So we're going to Fusion away with the Embers. We're going to grab this. Now, the reason we're able to do that is because face-up special summon monsters your opponent controls become Pyro during your turn only. So keep that in mind. Here we go for the Vados as well to pop our field spell so that we can get the field spell trigger. And I didn't add, I set the Ashen for Eternity, and this is one of the cases where adding it to hand would have been better, because then they wouldn't have been able to shuffle it away, because non-targeting shuffles. Oops. Anyway, we get the Shaman here, which Shaman can specifically shuffle away, or shuffle back 3 Pyro monsters. Oh, it can shuffle away the Vados. I'm just lying to you. But Shaman's like really difficult to get the most value out of, but like it was pretty good here, just being able to put 3 guys back. Most notably, I also put back the Fusion here, because I was running 3, and I summoned all 3. Anyway, we draw for turn off of the Ashen City. My opponent goes for the Mech Knight here, and we Fusion Summon into Vados, the Dragon of Endless Darkness, which says, if Fusion Summon, destroy all spell traps your opponent controls, and when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, you can send a face-up Ashen card you control to the graveyard to destroy that card. So, basically what's going to happen is we're going to activate our effects to nuke the field, as well as nuke the field again off of Vados. Now, I know what you're saying. Isn't this Dark Hole? Doesn't it send all monsters? That is correct. This, specifically, is indestructible. Not just by opponent's card effects, but just straight up can't be destroyed by card effects. Cool. So, there's that. We're going to pop the guy with our effect because they attempted to chain the Nightfall. They're going to normal summon the guy, crash, and at this point the game is over, and they've realized it, and they're just trying to, like, get the, like, game played. I literally don't have a way to kill them. I give them the field spell, and I'm like, oh, like, I literally don't have a thing that I can do here. So that kind of sucks. I just attack, and then they draw a card, they set a card, and then I attack again. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, really fun deck, and a very fun duel. This was a very close duel as well. So there you go. Good game. Alright, so here we are with the second deck, and it is a deck I have played a ton and explained about a ton. And it is Brigade Lyrilisc. I always play this in the events because whenever it's playable, it's extremely fun. So if you don't know, the Lyriliscs are level 1 winged beast monsters that special summon themselves pretty easily to go into rank 1 monsters, such as Recital Starling to search out additional winged beasts, and Ensemble Blue to bounce special summoned monsters. With the help of the Brigade monsters, which can link summon by banishing the materials from the grave if they are specifically Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters, all together, they just kind of synergize really well and allow you to go into just additional interruptions, whether that's through the Brigade stuff or through the Lyrilisc stuff. Now, because of the ban list, we are missing quite a few pieces, but it's still very playable and very fun. So yeah, let's just quickly explain the Brigade stuff as well. We have Fractal to send cards to the graveyard. We have Nerval, which is able to search out some of the Brigades. But the most important thing, or the most notable thing, not important, but the most notable thing about this, Fua is a winged beast. Let me restate that. Fuwalos is a winged beast monster. Now, why is this important? Well, because that means that drawing it is actually advantageous. Alongside something like a Karos, or alongside something like a Cobalt Sparrow, not a Cobalt Sparrow, but like a Ferrigite. If you're able to get Ferrigite onto the field, you can special summon this alongside a myriad of other things. It just like provides a lot of synergy and usefulness, especially in the grave. Like being able to pitch it and then banish it off of the effect of something like a Brigade just means that you're able to do so much more. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. As for the extra deck, it is pretty simple. We're only playing the Lyriliscs that we can, pretty much, and that's pretty much it for the link, or for the Xyz. And then the link monsters are pretty simple as well. Mostly we're going into some org to recycle the Apex Avian and just use Apex Avian a bunch. Sometimes we can make like Avramax IPs, shenanigans. We can also do like Unicorn with the IP Masquerena. And then it's just like Doomeagle and Rugal and stuff like that. It's pretty basic. A lot of this is just kind of winning through like Ash Blossom Droplet and stuff like that, as well as some minor interactions like a Strong Negate and stuff like that. It's not really all that powerful, especially compared to modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, but it really works well in this current metagame, or in the event. So let's hop into the duels and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going second, and our hand is actually pretty good given the Fractal and Kit are in our hands, as well as we do have two hand traps here. Now, I do kind of goof by not immediately shotgunning the DD Crow on the Songan, Songa, but yeah, I don't know. That's just, you know, hindsight. Anyway, my opponent's going to go for the Prisma here. They're going to go for Prisma, dumping the Kazajan, and now, you know, they have that for follow-up. So there's that. We draw Droplet, which is an answer to this guy. We literally did not have an answer other than, well, okay, technically speaking, we do have one answer, and you'll see it in a second, which is very funny. But technically speaking, other than Droplet, our answer is like Avramax, and it's like really bad. But we have another one, which I'll show you. We're going to dump the Nerval since we already have the Kit in hand. We're just going to search the Karos and then dump Kit off of the Karos, and then Kit's going to send Fractal here. Keeping the Nerval is a lot more important here because of the way that not Sapphire Swirl, but the Lyriliscs work. They just require level 1 winged beasts, which Nerval happens to be. So there's that. Anyway, out comes the Simorg, and since we control a winged beast, we can special summon the DD Crow, which ended up being extremely useful, and if we didn't draw that, we would have lost this. Well, this game would have been a lot harder. Anyway, this allows us to go into the Recital Starling. Now, Recital Starling has two effects. One, to search a card, and the other one, on summon, boosts a face-up monster you control, a face-up monster on the field by 300 attack and defense for each material attack. which is a 600 attack point boost, which means our our Simorgh is now 3,000 attack points with just the one Recital Starling. However, we can make it even bigger because it's not a hard once per turn. So we're going to link off here into the Farajit after searching the Cobalt Sparrow. Cobalt Sparrow is going to special summon itself in order to grab up the Barrel Canary. We're going to link those off into a Pit Knight early, just because it's something. We draw into Fualos, which is funny, so we'll just put it right back. And then we're going to go for the Barrel Canary, bringing back specifically the Sapphire Swallow. Now, if you don't know, all of the Lyrilisks also give effects to the monster that are used as that use them as Xyz material. Does that make sense? So Sapphire Swallow specifically allows it to, if it is Xyz summoned, target a Lyrilisc monster in the grave and attach it as material. Now, notably, the way that this works is we can actually target with the effect of the Recital Starling, and then target and attach an additional material, meaning we can boost by not 600, but 900, making our guy 3,900, which, hey, that's more than the Gate Guardian combined. Very funny. I really love that play. It's very, very cool that we're able to do that. Now, obviously, we can't attack because of this Wall Shadow, so that's nice. But also, I can't be targeted. The only guy that can be targeted is Pit Knight early. So, there's that. My opponent's going to activate the effect here of their field spell. I'm going to promptly negate that, and out comes the second one. And that's not a once per turn, so oops. Anyway, my opponent walks over the field. That's fine. They can't get over this guy, which is great. They're going to just put the Songa back into the back row. And luckily, they don't have there isn't 7 zones blocked, so we can still summon the level 7 monster. That's how this card works. It's very weird, but yeah, there's not 7 occupied spell and trap card zones, so we can still summon the Apex Alien. Anyway, I'm immediately going to go to the combat phase here, and they're going to pop my monster, which kind of sucks, but that's fine. I'm just going to walk over this guy and then negate its effect, and then normal summon the Kit. Kit is going to banish 2. We're going to summon the Farajit, and then we're going to link 2 into the Rugal. Activate the effect here, just to kind of cycle things. We can put the Apex Avian back so we can summon it from deck. We're going to grab up the Fractal, as well as a few other cards. We're going to go for the Fractal here, sending the Celeste Wagtail, so we can go for the Barrel Canary. And Barrel Canary is going to summon, as well as search out the Bird Call. We're going to go Bird Call to search out another Barrel Canary and special summon another Turquoise Warbler, which then allows us to grab up the Cobalt Sparrow from grave as well. Very cool cards. Anyway, we grab up a DD Crow off of this, and I'm immediately going to go for the DD Crow and the Kazakin. I'm not allowing them to go into any of that shenanigans. And then I make the Ensemble Blue, and I put it in the wrong zone because guess what? Pit Knight early is going to come back. To be fair, it doesn't really matter, all things considered, because I was going to put the Apex Avian here as well, because not only does Simorgh make itself untargetable, but all winged beasts that it points to as well are untargetable. So, yeah, all of these guys are untargetable. Very cool card. It's banned in the TCG, so, you know, there's that. They're going to make a big guy, and I'm just going to immediately bounce it, to which they will go, yeah, you got it. Good game. So, there you go. Good game. And the last deck I have for you is Shadal. Shadal, for some reason, is literally entirely untouched in this event, which is kind of abnormal. It doesn't... I mean, it kind of has a solo mode, but not really. We haven't really gotten to that part of the story, so it's kind of interesting to see the Shadals here. But alas, Invoked is also in here. So we're playing Shadal Invoked. Now, if you're wondering, no, Dogmatica is not playable. Dogmatica... all of the, like, important Dogmatic cards for this are banned, which is Punishment, Nadir Servant, and the Ecclesia. We could technically still play, like, Maximus and stuff like that. I don't think it's worth it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's basically just non-engine and normal summon Alistair and kind of pray. It's very fun, very simple. If you don't know what Shadals do, Shadals are flip monsters that, when sent to the graveyard via card effect, generate advantage, like by sending additional cards, by special summoning additional cards, by popping monsters or drawing popping spell traps and drawing cards and stuff like that. So they all have various different effects, and that's pretty cool. Shadal Fusion, if your opponent controls a monster special summon from the extra, you can Shadal Fusion from deck by using the materials from deck, whereas if not, it's just a polymerization basically for Shadal monsters, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, we also have the Alistair. Alistair normal summon, grab Invocation. Invocation is then able to be used to summon out any of the invoked monsters, most notably Mechaba, which is able to be used with a light monster, and then it's just in Omni Negate as long as you have the cards in hand to discard for it, which is very, very useful. And that's pretty much it, although the rest of the cards facilitate that or are used in that in some capacity. Also, Winda is just like a house in and of herself because she prevents stuff from being special summoned. So that's pretty much it. Technically, each player can only special summon once per turn, but there you go. Anyway, let's hop into the replay and show you how this deck performs. Alright, here we are going second, because of course we do, but we drew the Shadal Fusion and Alistair, which is very, very strong. My opponent is going to reveal that they are on Rika, and their hand doesn't look exceptional, seeing as how they're starting with the Rika Glamour, which is generally what you don't want to do, but alas, out comes Petal, they're going to grab a Princess. Princess is then going to be oh sorry, out comes the Dryas, which of course they drew this guy as well, they always do. I swear, whenever they have a hand that, like, doesn't do the Dryas combo, normally, they always end up drawing the Sowing, so they get to do it anyway. Anyway, let's see what they can put together. They go for the Jasmine here. They're going to tribute in order to special summon the Mudan. I'm sure this is not being played, like, correctly, like 1000%, because Plant Link is, like, very complicated, so I'm not expecting it to be great. But they do grab the Ricochet, as well as earlier they grabbed the other trap, the Tranquility, which is a card that, like, kind of does stuff. So there's that. They're going to Reborn with the Melius, and then go into Bengal Lancer, and then just set one additional card and pass the turn. Not exactly exceptional, but it's fine. We draw Ash for turn, which is very funny, but we're going to start off here with the Shadal Fusion, sending a Light and a Shadal, which happens to be Squamata, which sends an additional card when it's sent to the graveyard, and we're going to make Construct. Construct is a powerhouse of a card that really needs to be answered from my opponent, because we're going to send an additional card on summon. So we're going to send it with the Squamata and with the Construct, and we're going to send the Dragon as well as Aerial. We're going to go and target the Con here to force them to basically use it, as well as the Aerial. We're going to chain as a Chainlink 2 to chain block the Dragon so that the Dragon guarantees to destroy the Con, because I don't want them to have that. But we're going to target some cards in their grave to just banish. But alas, of course, the the Princess can negate, so they're going to negate tributing my Construct, and then just negating that. So there you go. Anyway, Aerial gets negated, but Construct does have the ability, as well as all of the fusions, to add back a Shadal spell trap from grave when they are sent to the graveyard. Anyway, we're going to start off here with the Shadal Fusion, or the El Shadal Fusion, and we're going to target the Bengal Lancer. Now, if you don't know, App Cologne targets a face-up card on the field to negate it on summon. Notably, this is a permanent negate. It's just forever negated. So, by negating the Bengal Lancer, it's basically forcing them to use it, and if they don't really get it. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. So they're going to take 25. I'm going to summon the Hedgehog and then draw into Hedgehog off of the Beast and the Wendy that we did there. They're going to go for the Ricochet, which is not... It doesn't work that way. If you don't know, this card prevents your opponent from activating the card effect. However, that's it. I've already activated the card. So, and it's only... while it's on the field. So, there's that. Anyway, we're going to link off into Artemis and then banish their light monster in order to go into my Mechaba. And then we are going to activate the invocation to grab up the Alistair. And Alistair can be used, I'm just not going to use it. We're just going to walk over the Mudan and then pass the turn. Again, the Bengal Lancer kind of doesn't do anything at this point, so there's that. We're going to go for the Mechaba, to which my opponent will respond with Tranquility. Oh, sorry. They're going to go for the Petal to Reborn this guy, which I really don't want. So I'm going to go for the Mechaba. This is going to force the Tranquility, and Tranquility is going to special summon it anyway, as well as the low guy. So, not great. Maybe I should have waited. Hard to say. Anyway, my opponent's going to go for the Mudan, as well as the Bengal Lancer, which is going to Reborn itself. So, SpaghettiOs. They're going to go for the Dryas. Dryas is going to add another Sunvine Sowing. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that sucks. I'm going to go for the Ash Blossom here, and negate the Sunvine Sowing, and... yeah, out comes Rika Con. Now, I know what you're saying. Wait, why not wait for the effect of the Rika Con? Because here's the thing. I can't negate that. I could be wrong, but it does specifically say negate the activation, not the effect. So I would have had to negate the activation of the Rika field spell. I know that they have the Con, or the Mudan in hand, so I don't know. I was just kind of put in a sticky situation. It was just kind of bad for me. But we do have Alistair, at the very least, in hand, so maybe we can do stuff here. They grab up the Princess. They're going to grab up the Fairy, or the Primula. They're going to special summon out here. They're going to go into this one? Anyway, that one. They're then going to attempt to special summon with the Sylvan Dance Fion. And out comes another Mudan, which I think, honestly, probably should have just stayed in their deck. Anyway, they're going to walk over the field and specifically walk into my flip monster, which is then going to get me Shadal Fusion. So we just do it again. Yeah, pretty good. Anyway, they basically just have Bengal Lancer and some protection. That's pretty much it. We draw Called By, which is actually very useful here because of that card right there, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, very, very useful draw there. Anyway, we're going to go for the Apolone here to negate the Rikkonkon. Because again, permanent negation means they're just out of it. As well as we're going to send some cards. Most notably, we send Genius. It's the Earth that we play for Sheki Naga, the Shadal monster. And I believe I targeted the Bengal Lancer. Yeah. So I targeted the Bengal Lancer, and if you don't know, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target an effects monster on the field. Neither player can activate the target's effects on the field this turn. Now, generally, what I was trying to do there, which was very simple, was just force them to use the Bengal Lancer. But they're like, oh, I don't want to take the damage. I don't want to. That's fine. I just won't use it this turn, which is fine. But Alistair the Invoker is now going to kill them. So if you don't know, there is a card called Invoked Purgatrio, which says, can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflicts piercing battle damage, and it gains attack equal to the number of cards your opponent controls. However, you can also boost its attack with Alistair the Invoker. So it just kills the opponent. Good game, Rika. Alright, so all in all, I do want to say I thoroughly enjoy all three of these decks. These are some of my favorite decks of all time, as well as one of my newest favorite decks. I really enjoy Ashen. And honestly, just being able to play them in such a fun and dynamic format, something that isn't dominated by things like Maxi. Sure, the Fua loss and Perulia are still out there, but at the very least, like, you're not having to sit through an entire combo and then get a Maxi drop on your head. So there's that. That being said, this isn't like the best format of all time. It's not like the most insane or like the most entertaining or what have you. But I do think that is genuinely one of the most fun, just due to the lower power format of it, while still having a lot more deck diversity, right? Especially compared to like the XZ events or what have you, where it's just like, cool, let's play Pearly for the 50th time, or let's play Lyralisk, OTK, and stuff like that. So I thoroughly enjoy this this format, and yeah, just that's pretty much it. I'm gonna bring a whole bunch of decks for you guys to enjoy and to play yourselves. So there you go. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, like us very much, I'll appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.